Hello there friends, I hope that you're doing well. So I recently bought this mouse from ASUS, TUF Gaming M3, and I wanted to make a review, but not a simple review. I wanted to compare it with a Razer mouse. The thing is, I've used the Razer products, especially Razer mouses, for the past more than 10 years. So this is my Razer Naga 2012. It's very old, 11 years old. I'm not using it because the clicks don't really work that well. And I found this one on my local retailer. It was quite cheap. I think I paid around $60 or $70. And I wanted to give it a try. So how it is compared to Razer mouse, especially with this old kind of Razer mouses, it's really a big difference compared to materials. This one is using absolutely premium materials. It's also much more heavier. It's like double the weight compared to the ASUS one, and overall this feels like a premium mouse compared to the ASUS one, which feels not the cheapest, but it feels like a cheap mouse. How exactly compares the ASUS one compared to the cheap Razer mouses that you can find these days, like the Razer Adder or even the Razer Viper, which I've tried at some point last year, and I have to say that the ASUS one, I think it's a bit better than that Adder and Viper, and that is because this top side, it's using some really smooth plastic, which is really pleasant to touch, compared to that Adder, which was it was using even a lower quality plastic, and that one and the Viper felt even more lightweight than this one. The only disadvantage, and I think this is a huge problem with the ASUS one, is the cable, which, as you can see, it has shapes, so it's not straight like the one from Razer, which is braided, of course. And because of that, because the cable is so stiff, when you move the mouse like this, usually it turns a bit to the left. And let's compare this one. So when you slide, it will stay still. I can't really show it exactly on this mouse pad, but when you slide it like this, the mouse doesn't move. When you're using the ASUS one, when you slide it, it will slightly move because it's so light and the cable is so stiff. If they were using a braided cable, I don't think I would have complained too much about it. So this is the main disadvantage, the cable. It's very stiff, it's not braided, and because of that the mouse feels unprecise. And also, I guess it's a matter of preference, but this one is too light for me. But let's talk about the advantages. I think it's a decent mouse for gaming. I mean, if you're only using it to play games, that because it's so cheap, so if it breaks, just get a new one. So you won't care too much if you're just pressing the buttons too hard, compared to a Razer one, which like a Naga goes these days for over $100. This one was less than 20. And yeah, it feels good in hand. I'm using mostly fingertip position or claw grip. I'm not using a palm grip like this. Usually I'm just standing like this with the hand like this, and it feels quite alright for just for gaming. Also, I like and I don't like that the buttons behind the scroll wheel are just placed too far from the scroll wheel compared to the ones from Razer, which go right after the scroll wheel. Because of that, when you're using the mouse, if you keybind this button to something else, it will be a bit uncomfortable to press it compared to this one, which is it has a shorter reach. But yeah, in games you probably won't really assign this button to anything. The side buttons are fine, I don't press them accidentally. Also the plastic here is glossy and very pleasant to touch, very discreet, so they won't bother you. Usually I keep my finger like this and it's fine, or the other side like this. So it's okay, just for gaming. The scroll wheel also feels quite precise. The scroll click is okay compared to the Razer one. Of course, it's also this one doesn't make any sound almost when you, and also on my main Razer mouse, which is a Razer Naga XV2, this doesn't make pretty much any sound compared to this one, which is quite loud. Anyway, the clicks sound like this, completely fine. A bit loud, but considering that this mouse is new, I guess it's understandable. So yeah, compared to, as I said, to the Razer mouses, the cheapest one, the Tether, which has no buttons here, it has side buttons, but that one is also bigger and it requires a palm grip. This one is more comfortable for me for a medium-sized hand. Also the shape, it's almost as the one from Razer Naga, with the difference is that this one is a bit more wider and the height is bigger on the Naga, which makes it feel more comfortable. So you put the hand here and it's just very comfortable to sit, to place your hand, compared to this one. It's almost the same, so the hand goes like this. So I guess it's fine. Other things that you might want to know is if you can use different keybinds for these keys. You can do that. For example, you can reassign this button to scroll click, so instead of pressing here scroll click, you can press here. Usually these scroll wheels are the first one to break if you click them too much, so I always used on all my mouses this button instead of pressing the scroll click, except the expensive Razer mouses, which you can just tilt the scroll to the left, which I always assign. Instead of scroll click, I just tilt the scroll wheel a bit to the left. This one doesn't have that option, it's too old for that, and this one is too cheap for that, so it doesn't have that option either. So the final verdict is this mouse worth to buy or not. I would say it is if you can't really go for something more expensive. I would rather much prefer this one instead of Razer that other, and even Razer Viper or Viper Mini, which I guess are the cheapest ones from Razer. But definitely if you can get something more expensive from Razer, like even a Razer Naga or Razer Basilisk X or V3, those are much better than than the ASUS one. Probably you can try something else from Logitech instead of this one, but only for gaming this one is fine. You can just click fine, it's comfortable, it stays okay in the hand. The only thing is that I don't think this is a good mouse for work, for anything else outside gaming, because it's just too light. It's and it doesn't feel very precise. I always liked mouses which have a bit more weight, like this one is just twice the weight of this one. So this was my review for the ASUS TUF M3 compared to Razer mouses. So I hope that you found the video useful. If you did, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.